Before we get any further though, we really need to start with a couple really cool things about these amazing oils. First of all, the cool things you need to know about essential oils are that they are safe. They're 100% natural. There's no side effects. There's no addictions. There's no extracts. No, they are extracts, getting ahead of myself, from plants that have amazing health benefits. And once we learn how to use them, there's nothing that we can't do. They are 50 to 70% more powerful than herbs. So we also need to know that oils are effective. These are amazing little gifts of the earth that have shown over and over again that they have a place in this world that we're living in. Really quickly, super simple biology lesson. When we look at a cell, there's a little oily membrane on the outside of that cell called the cell membrane. Now, when we are dealing with bacteria, when we're dealing with viruses, it's important to understand the distinction of what is what and why the oils work. And when you have a cell and there's something attacking on the outside, that's usually a bacteria. That's something that you go to the doctor, they give you an antibiotic, they send you home, you know, a few days later, it either worked or they give you a different one. If it's a virus, it's affecting your cell on the inside. Now, that is when the doctors often have to say, go home, drink some water and rest, because oil and water don't mix. Most of the synthetic medications that they have are water-based, whereas essential oils are oil-based. So they can affect the cell and break that permeable membrane in a different way. That just means, super simply, that we have so much that we can do with essential oils that we never thought possible with our modern medicine that we deal with. We'll learn more about that, talk more about it later. And the last cool thing that I think about essential oils is they're super affordable. You know, I don't know about you, but when I've had to go to the doctor, I've had to do that antibiotic that didn't work and have to go back. By the time I add up co-pays, add up the different medications, add up the time off from work, it gets expensive. I know with my essential oils, I can have them on hand, they're ready. They cost pennies on the dollar for what I need, and I don't need to use a lot of them to get maximum result. So keep in mind, as we're talking tonight, essential oils, they're safe, they're effective, and they're affordable. Oh, let's see if it's gonna let me change my slide. There we go. The other three things that we're gonna touch briefly on now, and we'll go more into depth as we talk about the oils, is that they're really simple to use. You know, essential oils can be used in three primary ways. The first is aromatic. That's simply taking your essential oil, putting a drop in the palm of your hand, rub your hands together, inhale, heaven. That is aromatic use. Now that can look just like we did there, where you're putting a drop of oil in your hand. In fact, if you have oils, pick whichever one is closest to you right now, put a drop in your hand and enjoy that aroma as we're talking. We also know that with aromatic use, using something like a diffuser, putting them, you know, around the house in an air mist, there's so many different ways to use that aromatic benefits from the oils. We also use the oils topically. That means we're physically putting the oil on our skin. Most oils are very, very safe to do that with. There's a few that are hot oils that could be less than comfortable. So we just dilute them if we want to use them topically, like oregano or cassia. And I like to use a fractionated coconut oil when I'm diluting oils. And that just helps them to not flash off or evaporate off the skin. And it helps them to absorb more readily and keeps sensitive skin safe. We want to make sure that when you're using oils topically, they don't go in your ears, your eyes, your nose, or any other orifice of your body except your mouth. When you want to use internally, there are many oils that are safe to use internal. They on the bottle will have a food supplement label. That just simply means that it's been recognized as something we can take internally. Whether you add that to water that you're drinking, whether you put it directly under your tongue. One of my favorite methods is put a drop in my hand, lick it off. I know right now these days, that's probably a scary thought for everybody. Just wash your hands first. You're gonna be totally fine. So why? Why do I love this topic? Well, it's a love-hate relationship, to be honest. I would never have come to doTERRA in the way that I have if it wasn't for this beautiful little girl and her story. This is my daughter at about age 2.5. She was diagnosed with asthma when she was 9 months old. When she was 11 months old, she spent her first week in the hospital. Actually, it was 2 weeks, and a week of that, she was on life support, and the doctors weren't sure if she was going to make it through. Since that day until about 2 years later, or exactly 2 years later, 24 months, she was hospitalized over 18 times. We got to get very experienced with riding in the back of an ambulance. This little mask on her face, she used to call it her little buddy because she had it on so often having breathing treatments. No matter what we did with the doctors, we couldn't get a handle on what was going on with her. She was on many, many different prescriptions by the time she was 3 years old, and there was no end in sight. I was a single mom. I was at my wit's end. She had medication that literally would keep her up for days at a time, and I felt helpless. I felt like there was nothing that I could do. My daughter was suffering. There was just this onward, downward spiral in our future, and I needed a break. I needed help. I needed an answer. And it was very soon after that where I'm a God girl. I was praying. I got some inspiration to start by changing our diet. And, you know, we did that. We changed her diet, which was a huge thing for her. Turns out her little system doesn't like food dyes. It doesn't like preservatives. It doesn't like additives. And when those things are eliminated from her diet, she can handle the rest of her respiratory triggers really well. So we changed that. We made a few different changes in our lifestyle, and we started seeing some positive benefit. And that's when I was able to try essential oils for the first time. I was walking into a craft fair. Katrina was almost 4 years old. We hadn't been in the hospital in about 7 months. And I saw Rosie and I saw Gail Wheeler, and they were at this booth. And the truth is I had heard about oils before, but I didn't trust them. I was super skeptical. More than anything, I was scared. I was scared of what it could do for my daughter. I was scared to try it. And I was even more scared not to try something that so many people had said would work. So I met Rosie, and as I was talking to her, I feel like I was so awful. I was the biggest devil's advocate, asking questions and really taking advantage of the fact that here was someone who didn't know me, didn't know my daughter, and didn't know our history. And through that conversation, Rosie noticed that Katrina was coughing. And she just asked me in the middle of one of our questions if she could have Katrina smell something. In the back of my head, all I could think of, I don't know, is this safe? And sure, she can smell whatever she wants. It's not going to change anything. And Rosie taught me that trick. She put a drop of breathe oil in the palm of my hands, rubbed hands together, and just started waving them gently like this in front of Katrina's face as she and I continued our conversation. And for the first time in almost 4 years, my daughter quit coughing. In almost 4 years, I had never had a 5-minute stretch where she wasn't coughing or struggling in some way. And I knew right then that we had found an answer to our prayers. I left that booth with a book and a sample of Breathe, and I went home and I literally stayed up all night devouring the book and deciding what the next step was. That was in 2011, the end of November. And let me tell you, my life could not be more different now than it was that day. And that is all such an amazing testament to what these oils can do. So let's break it down. Let's talk about what's actually happening, what our physiology is in the body, and how we can use the oils to support that. Here you see an image with your normal lung in the airway. You can see that the tube is really clear, it's open, it's a very thin lining. That is what a healthy lung or a normal lung should look like. Now, some of the things that happen when we're having respiratory issues is that, first of all, you get a lot of extra mucus. Your body is trying to push out whatever is irritating it, and it creates mucus. That excess mucus thickens up in your airways. It makes it hard to breathe. You also get a lot of inflammation, and that airway gets tighter and tighter because of the constriction on the outside. You can see 2 different ways to look at this here, but those are the 3 main components of almost any respiratory issue, we're dealing with either excess mucus, inflammation, or muscle tightness. And when we understand that, the world of how we can help it opens up exponentially. And this to me is a key. I don't want you to walk away tonight just knowing that there's some oils that can help some respiratory stuff. I want you to walk away tonight knowing why your body is reacting the way it is, identifying what is going on, and being able to pinpoint an oil that is going to support you exactly where you're at. Now, when we have respiratory issues, some of the things that we'll notice are the coughing. Like I mentioned that with my daughter, coughing. Sometimes it's really mucusy, gunky coughing. Sometimes it's really a dry cough. But that cough is an indication that somewhere along your respiratory system, air is not flowing the way that your body wants it to. Often we see a shortness of breath. People who get excited, it could be exercise induced, it could just be stress or anxiety, it could be at completely relaxed states, people are still short of breath. You'll often hear sounds like wheezing, where you can hear audibly that air is not flowing through the body. Often it feels very tight in your chest. All of that constriction around all of those little airways in your lungs tighten up and it feels tight or heavy. Sometimes your heart rate is racing, or sometimes it's slowing down because you're having a hard time breathing. Or it can also be just that rapid heart rate with really shallow breathing. Sometimes it looks like you can see, along the neck or under the ribs, especially on little ones, that when they breathe, that's all being sucked in because they're trying so hard to breathe and get air into their lungs. Sometimes we see it show up with just a really prolonged exhalation, just that. We've all seen that. Most of us have experienced that slowing down, trying to catch your breath. No matter what it looks like for you, any one of these things alone can be alarming. Every one of those things can be supported with our oils. Now, when we're talking about oils to support this, it's really important to just really quickly look at that you're creating a solid foundation in your body. Everything in our body is interwoven, it's connected, it's designed to work together. So no matter what we throw at one issue, if we don't start with a healthy foundation of good diet, good exercise, rest, relaxing, managing our stress, and reducing our toxic load, we're going to be fighting an uphill battle. And then from there, we just want to be informed. We want to take care of ourselves, be empowered with the knowledge, and be proactive in our medical care. This pyramid of health is going to be the solid foundation that you need to make the biggest difference in your health anywhere. And tonight we'll talk about it in regards to your respiratory system. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that there's 3 ways that we can use essential oils, and we're going to talk about my favorite oils in each of those 3 ways. Now, first, I will tell you right now, we're going to talk about a lot of oils, and we're not going to talk about nearly all of the oils that can help with the respiratory system, because these oils are amazing. They are so safe and so effective, and there's so many oils that can be so beneficial for a respiratory system that we could probably go through one of our lists of every essential oil doTERRA has, and I can point out how it can benefit your respiratory system. So know this, we're going to talk about a lot of oils. They are powerful. Get the ones that you need, use the ones that you have, and let's get it to a point where we're making a massive difference in your overall health. First of all, I mentioned the Breathe oil. This little baby will always have a special place in my heart. For those of you that have been to live doTERRA classes, you know that we often have giveaways. I cannot tell you how many bottles of Breathe I won my first year or 2 that I was with doTERRA. It seemed that every time I went to a class and somebody was raffling or giving away Breathe oil, my daughter or I won it. I don't know how, but that was the level of attraction that we had to this oil in our life. Now, this is one of doTERRA's core blends. It's in the 10 most popular oils, and we talk about it all the time, but really it is magic. Now, my favorite way to use it is really to put the drop in the palm of the hand and inhale it. In fact, when Katrina was really little and we started this, I would cup my hands differently. Instead of just opening like this, I would cup them so that little tiny opening there is what would cover her nose and her mouth. And she was little, so it covered the whole area. And as I was doing that, you know, first of all, it kept the vapors or the aromatic parts of the oil from going into her eyes, which she really appreciated. And as she was still, you know, an older toddler, I really appreciated not having her kick and scream and run away from it. But even, you know, a testament to that, even when she would get a little by her eyes or it would cause her eyes to water, she knew the benefit and would come seeking the oils and ask for them. So breathe oil in your hands, inhaling them, by far my first and strongest recommendation. Next to that is to use it in a diffuser. Here are 4 of doTERRA's diffusers. They have changed up a little bit. We have another new one that is amazing, the Volo. I don't have a preference as to which one you use. Just use one. They're so amazing. You put the water in, you put the oil in, and let it go. Now, when we first started using the oils, it took me a while before I could afford a diffuser, and I would use them then by putting a cotton ball with essential oil on it, stuffed in a pillowcase so that she was breathing that in at night. But the real change started happening when I was able to diffuse breathe oil next to her bed every single night. She would get, first of all, she was sleeping by this time, which amazing, you know. I was one of those new moms that I didn't get a child who slept through the night until she was 4. Let me tell you about sleep deprivation. Diffusing breathe helped so much. She was able to sleep soundly, and it was a constant infusion of oils into her system. It replaced everything else that we were doing in a very short amount of time. Now, I also, after a while, probably about a year of doing breathe every single night, I, as a mama, was getting kind of tired of smelling breathe. I love the oil. I'm so grateful to the oil, but I was tired of it. And I started putting in my diffuser frankincense and eucalyptus. And that was a powerful combination. Eucalyptus is an expectorant. It's also a great oil to help move and open your airways. Frankincense is an oil that helps with that inflammatory response we were talking about. Together in the diffuser was a magic combination that I never thought could be improved until a few years later they introduced cardamom. And cardamom rounded out the aroma of that blend that I used, but it also was magic. Cardamom is a super powerful oil for respiratory. It helps with the calming effect. It helps with the mucus. It helps with the inflammation. So those 3, either individually or combined in your diffuser, would be on the top of my list for diffusing in aromatic use: frankincense, cardamom, and eucalyptus. I also really like to diffuse peppermint. Peppermint is an oil high in oxides. Now, we're not going to get into all of the essential oil chemistry, but for those of you like me that love to know the ins and the outs and study essential oil chemistry, keep your book handy and look at all the oils that are high in oxides. If it is high in oxide, think of oxide oxygenation. It's going to help open airways. It is going to be powerful in bringing that oxygen into your body. So if you already have a resource book that you use, just for fun, flip through that and see how many different oils are high in oxides that you could use for respiratory support that you probably have never thought of. But peppermint is one. Diffusing it can be really powerful for that. Apparently, On Guard is really special because it's on my slide twice. On Guard is powerful, not always because of the immune support, although that is a huge part of it. If you're dealing with respiratory issues because your immune system is fighting something, On Guard is going to be magic. It is going to help your body get the support it needs and to be able to do all that it needs to do to fight off whatever is coming its way. So On Guard all the time. I also will often mix On Guard with Breathe. It's kind of an aroma to get acquired. It's not necessarily, you know, the citrus and peppermint yummy blend that we love, but it is a powerhouse. That On Guard and Breathe together really support your body in a way that you will not forget. And nothing would be complete here without adding a couple of our herbs. Marjoram and rosemary are both two oils that are really great to diffuse. Rosemary is one that you don't often think about with respiratory stuff, but it's a fantastic oil. It helps to clear out the gunk. It helps to calm the system. And marjoram is, you know, I talk about it all the time, is marjoram's the oil for muscles. It helps to calm the muscles, relax the muscles, and is a great one to diffuse as well. And just for good balance, I added balance oil. And this is a direct relation to what Katrina suggested. I asked her, you know, what did I forget? Which oils are the best one for aromatic support? And her number one response after seeing that I already put breathe on the slide was balance, because she said, Mom, nothing is scarier than feeling like you can't breathe. And balance reminds me that I'm okay. That's powerful. That's magic. That is what we want. So even if you have to use different ways of aromatics, you know, sometimes I've had to have the diffuser going with one or two things. We're inhaling things in our hands with something else. It's okay. Do what you got to do. Take advantage, use your oils, and then move on to topical support. Now, when we're talking topical, my best recommendations for using your essential oils for respiratory support, depending on who you're applying them to, most obviously is on your upper chest. I will recommend that for women, find somebody to help get the oils on your back, because for most of us, there is less tissue between our skin and our lungs from our back than from our chest. So applying the oils to your back is a fantastic way to help them get to your lungs a little bit faster. The benefit of putting them on your chest is that you are getting both the topical use as well as aromatic, because it's so close to your nose. I also use oils topically on feet. It's a great place to put the oils, rubbing it in, massaging it into the bottom of the feet. And then again, the oils that we use, you know, we talked about breathe, we talked about eucalyptus, frankincense, cardamom, peppermint, marjoram. Those are all oils that I would be using topically all the time. So I'm not going to tell you again how amazing they are. Just know that they're on the slide again because they're just that good. But we're also going to look at a category of oils for calming you down, for helping to relax, because like we mentioned with the balance, it's really stressful to not be able to breathe. And the first thing that we need is to have that mental clarity to help your body relax and to calm, so that you can not exasperate an already scary situation. Oils that are really great for calming would be Roman chamomile, sandalwood, cedarwood, lavender, cypress. Those are great oils to help calm the body down and to be able to relax and open up the muscles relax. It opens up airways. I also love to use oils like heliochrysum. Heliochrysum and breathe were the very, very first two oils that I bought. And like I said, I stayed up that first night, all night reading about the oils. And I had a decision to make, because like I said, I was a single mom and money was tight. I mean, we were making it, but money was tight. And I literally looked at knowing that heliochrysum and breathe were the two oils that my daughter needed the most. There was no doubt that's where I was supposed to start. And I looked at the cost of them and realized that was about what I spent on groceries for us for the week. And I literally got up, it was probably 4 o'clock in the morning because I was sleep deprived, and went to my kitchen and was looking at my pantry and had to make the decision, do I buy oils or do I buy food? And I chose to buy the oils, and let me tell you, it was the best decision I have ever made. But also just remind yourself that when you're sharing oils with people, don't judge their situation. Don't decide for them what they can afford, because when there is a need, you will find a way. And I got heliochrysum about a week later. I started using that topically on Katrina's chest and on her feet twice a day. And that oil made the biggest difference that I have ever seen with anybody in all of my days of oils. And that says a lot, because I've seen a lot of amazing things happen. But the heliochrysum allowed her body to take a breath and do what it was created to do. It allowed her lungs to regain the strength that we thought was lost. It helped to restore their capability to operate and function the way they were created to function. Heliochrysum is one of those oils that every home should have. And it's costly, but that's okay. We'll find ways, and we'll talk about at the end how you can get it for a fraction of the cost, how you can get it and make it work into your home. But don't underestimate it because it's a powerful, powerful oil. I also look at topical oils like Digest Zen and lime, because those oils get the gunk out. Lime is naturally a degreaser. You know, if you haven't tried it in your dishes, you should, because it makes cleaning the pans super easy. But what it can do with degreasing your dishes in your kitchen is what it's doing on the inside. It's helping to break up the gunk. So whether you're using it topically, or sometimes I throw it in the diffuser, it helps to break up all that mucus. Digest Zen is another one that I find we grab often for respiratory issues, because when there's that wet, gunky cough, the Digest Zen helps to break that all down. Ginger is another great one. Ginger's not on the slide specifically because I usually use it through the Digest Zen, but ginger is another one to break down the gunk and help get it out. Let's see, lavender. You know, lavender is a go-to. You know, I read often about people who are scared to use lavender because it's going to flare up their asthma. And I can't tell you enough how amazing lavender has been for us. You know, there might be people who have to be cautious with lavender. I have yet to meet them in person, but lavender helps inflammation. It helps calm muscles. It helps calm the body and the mind. It is a powerful oil. It's a powerhouse. So applying that topically is another great way to support your respiratory system. Thyme oil can be a little bit hot used topically. That's one that I use along the spine when we are dealing with extra inflammation, when we're dealing with possibly pathogens that the body's fighting off. And I'll use the thyme oil to really help support that. And myrrh, juniper berry, lemon, so many great oils that we can use for topical support. Now, I mentioned how I use the oils on the feet. Now, I like to rub the oils on the big toe, but really I wish I had a picture of the top of your feet. The reflex point for your bronchial lining is actually on like this part of your foot, right below the toes in that soft spot. And one of the things that I have learned as a mama with someone who has respiratory issues is when I'm tucking her in at night, if I'm giving her a little foot rub and I'm massaging that area right behind her toes there, it often gets super, super sensitive about 24 hours before she is going to have respiratory flare-up. That is the first indication for us that something is brewing. And more often than not now, I know when that gets tender, we're going to change what oils we're using. We're going to step it up a little bit, and we have learned how to negate the whole episode. And of course, internal use. Now, nothing is complete in how we support our bodies if we don't have a solid foundation. The Lifelong Vitality Pack is amazing. Even young kids can take a half dose. We have the chewables for the children. All of that is fantastic. Depending on your age, that Lifelong Vitality Pack is already built around creating that solid foundation. It has a lot of different things in there that help to create a healthy inflammatory response. It also has an amazing way to help people lessen the effects of seasonal distress. So Lifelong Vitality Pack, definitely on the top of the list of things to use for internal support. Turmeric is fantastic, again, for that healthy inflammatory response. So that's a really great one. DDR Prime, right now, especially in the season of life that we're living in, where we're dealing with things that are trying to change how our cells operate, I cannot stress enough the importance of using DDR Prime. Whether you're using the soft gel and taking it internally, or whether you're using the essential oil and applying it topically, DDR Prime is combat for protecting your cells. And right now our cells are being attacked. So let's boost up our DDR Prime and keep them moving and working strongly. The other things that I do for internal use are both Breathe Drops and the On Guard Drops. These are both lozenges that you can suck on, depending on whether you are looking for the respiratory support of the breathe or you're trying to deal with something that is bringing on the respiratory issues, the On Guard for extra immune support. We do a lot of copaiba. and frankincense. Frankincense under the tongue. You know, when we are in the throes of a big respiratory issue, we will often have frankincense going under the tongue every 10-15 minutes. Just one drop, because it helps to calm the whole body. It helps to bring that healthy inflammatory response back. So that's a powerful way to use the frankincense, just right under your tongue and frequently, especially in those first hours, because it brings that back down to something that you can manage. PB Assist, the probiotics, good gut health, helps with good overall health. And then Digestin, again, internally, because it does help to break down that mucus that is floating through your body. Now, if we really want to get good at this, we also have to recognize what is triggering us. What is it that brings your respiratory system screaming to you to stop? It could be inflammatory factors. That could be respiratory infections. That could be the work that you're doing. It could be allergens. It could be that you're around a lot of irritants. You know, when was the last time you evaluated the household cleaners, the body products, the room fresheners that you use? Because let me tell you, they are full of toxins and chemicals. And if you are sensitive to that, none of us should be around it, but especially if you have a respiratory issue, those things can trigger so much damage so quickly. Some of the other factors that we don't often think about would be, you know, gastric reflux. That acid reflux really affects the way that we can breathe. Pollutants in the air, whether it's from factories or cars or toxins that were around, or those stupid air fresheners that they want to put everywhere. Like I mentioned earlier, some of us are really, really sensitive to food additives, and knowing what's in your food can be a powerful way to stop some of these triggers, and sometimes medications. When you learn to identify what is triggering your body, you can learn how to avoid that and negate that altogether. If you have someone in your household that is dealing with respiratory issues on an ongoing basis, I would highly encourage you to keep a journal for a month or 2 months that include what they're eating, what is in their environment. You know, are they using different body products, different detergents, different soaps, hair products? For Katrina, this became a whole life transformation for her. We had to cut out every household cleaner. We changed all of our body products to things that were all natural, no fragrances, no synthetics, no preservatives, no additives. It was a struggle. Thank God doTERRA has all of that now, so we can have all of that easily accessible and safe for her. But it was a process to learn and get there. Not everybody needs to cut everything out that dramatically, but nobody will be damaged by doing so. Think about where you can cut out the irritants, cut back on your triggers, and listen to your body. When your body is talking, figure out what it's trying to tell you. How is this particular episode of respiratory distress presenting itself? Is it through a cough? Is that cough saying, I need more liquid because I'm really dry? I need to be hydrated so I can operate optimally. Is the cough telling you that there's a lot of gunk, and is that gunk stuck or is it moving? Use those clues that your body is giving you to pinpoint which oils are going to be best. Now, really quick to see if everybody's paying attention, I would love for you to drop in the comments right now about 5 of the oils that we talked about specifically to help get rid of the mucus. If you can think of one of the oils I mentioned to help get rid of the mucus, put it in the chat box, put it in the comments. Let's see who's paying attention. Now, we also know that if your body is feeling tight and stressed and like you got a brick on you, that's constriction. That is those muscles just going. So we want to look at the oils that are going to help your body to relax, both mentally, both with how anxious you're feeling, and those muscles to calm and relax. And then lastly, is your body telling you that it's just sore? Is there inflammation? If you feel like you are drinking a green smoothie or a thick milkshake through a straw every time you breathe, listen to what your body is saying and triggering each and every one of those specific aspects so you know which oils to grab. This was Katrina, I think, a month before her last hospitalization. Now, we were there a lot, and we got bored a lot. This was a version of Project Runway using paper towels for entertainment. And I love to include this in the presentation because the reality is it is scary to live this kind of lifestyle. It is scary to not know what the next step is. My hope is that each and every one of you walk away empowered to know what your next step is. Which oils are you going to add to your cart? Which oils are you going to pull out of the box to remember to listen to what your body is telling you? When you are empowered, when you have knowledge, when you are prepared, nothing is as scary as it could have been. So have a little smile, dress up your monkey in some paper towels if you have to, pull out your oils, and remember, you've got this. Now, a couple favorite recipes that Katrina will not let me talk about her story without sharing with you are the Breathe Easy salve. This is one, and I specifically do not tell you a base for it because this is a blend that can be mixed into lotion. This can be mixed into just regular coconut oil out of your kitchen. This could be mixed into a salve recipe that has the beeswax and the shea butter and all of that. It doesn't matter what your base is, but 4 drops each of frankincense, sandalwood, Roman chamomile, and ginger, plus 8 drops of clary sage and about 2 ounces of base makes an amazing salve that is great to massage on your chest or your back and put on your feet. Now, what I used to do, because I would go through this so often, here in Washington State, I knew that my coconut oil from my kitchen cabinet was always going to be liquid all summer long. So I would wait, and in the summer I had little jars and I would mix up probably 4 to 6 of these salves every summer, seal it up knowing that if she needed it during the summer, it was liquid, shake it up, ready to go. If she needed it during the winter, it would be stored, it would be a solid coconut oil, and I could just warm it up on my fingers and apply it. That worked for me. That was easy. Again, maybe not the best way, but single mama trying to make it work fast was all I had. So that's what I did. The other recipe that is not a popular subject, but a very powerful one, is a suppository. I used to make these with fractionated coconut oil if I needed them on the go, like right now we were making up a bunch of them because we knew we were having issues. I would put 25 drops of fractionated coconut oil with 2 drops each on guard, oregano, rosemary, frankincense, and peppermint. And then I would use a dropper and put those into our veggie capsules anytime needed. I also, again, got lazy, got quick, not lazy. I was finding quick and effective ways to help my daughter. And I would do the same recipe in about a tablespoon of coconut oil out of my kitchen. Again, do it in the summer when it's already melted. I would mix the oils in it, and then I would divide that into an ice cube tray that I found that was teeny tiny little circle ice cubes. You can also go to eoLIFE or Aromatouch and find specific kits to make suppositories, whatever it takes. These are awesome. This is not my first go-to. In fact, it's probably not my first, second, third. It's not even like the 5th or 6th thing that I want to go to, because who wants to worry about a rectal suppository? But when everything else is failing, when everything else is getting close but not quite cutting it, this has always seen us through. To the point that, you know, Katrina started using these probably when she was about 4 or 5 years old. They were super effective. We would pop one in her bum right before bed. By the time she woke up in the morning, lungs sounded totally differently. When I make them with the kitchen coconut oil, I would make them in that ice cube tray, freeze them, and then I would just let them warm up a little bit before we'd use them. I think the last time she had one was probably a couple years ago, and she was dealing with the verge of another serious respiratory infection. And I left it up to her, because let's face it, by the time your kids are getting to that 10, 12 years old, you don't really get to tell them what they're going to do. You have to have buy-in. And I left it up to her and I said, here's the deal. We have these. We can try one of these tonight, or we can go to the hospital. But we're at that point. What do you want to do? And she opted to try the suppository. And this is why she said, I have to share this recipe, because as unpleasant as it can be, it's effective, it's powerful, and it works. And then, of course, the diffuser blend. She now is a bigger fan of cardamom, eucalyptus, and frankincense than Breathe. And I think in our household, it It's one of those things that breathe oil is beautiful and I love it and I will never not have it in my house. But we have learned that there's a very strong emotional attachment to breathe oil as well. And depending on the day or the hormone level, sometimes it's a really pleasant memory to smell breathe, and sometimes it reminds us of how far we've come and how bad things were when we were using it every single day. I am happy to say that now we don't use anything for a daily support of respiratory stuff. Katrina has gotten so much stronger. She still and always will have respiratory issues, but we manage that. We keep in mind what her respiratory system needs, and we work with that throughout her diet choices, her exercise choices, the products that she uses, and we're able to support her now on such a high level that needing extra breathing support is like the icing on the cake, not the must do every day. So one of the things to keep in mind here is that you have so many different oils in your medicine cabinet. You have so many different oils in your purse, in your box in the closet, wherever you keep your oils that are going to be beneficial for a respiratory system. Follow your gut. Trust what you're feeling. If you are drawn to a specific oil, even if you don't think it makes any sense, try it and apply it frequently. And if you're not getting the results you need, pull out the next one. We've given you lots of tools tonight. I've given you many different ideas, many different recipes, oils. They're all going to work differently for each body. So if you're trying one of them and not getting the results you want, try a different one. Sometimes using these when you're in the throes of everything, it's going to take consistent use to see the results you want. If things are really painful or you're having a lot of issues right now, you might want to use the oils like every 10-15 minutes, for a few hours till you start getting that relief. If you've been dealing with this for years and years and years, it might take weeks and weeks and weeks until you feel strong and able to do what you want to do. But use the oils consistently and you will find an answer. Also, pull out your resources, whether it's an app on your phone, whether it's a book that you own, or whether it's plugging into an amazing Facebook group like Rosie has created in eoLIFE Hub to ask your questions, to reach out to other essential oil users and experts who can walk with you on this path. We're here to support you and help you to find the answers that you need to support your family. And when in doubt, just try it out. No harm is going to come by pulling out an essential oil to try and support your body. Oxides in general, great. We already talked about that. Peppermint, look in your books, find an oil that's an oxide, and you know it's going to benefit your respiratory system. Now, to break this down for all of you, let's get started with the must-haves. In Stacy's world, the things that you have to have if you're dealing with ongoing respiratory issues: a diffuser, breathe oil, and frankincense. You can't get much simpler than that. If you are new to doTERRA and just a customer buying at retail, that's about $250 depending on which diffuser you choose. If you already have a wholesale account and you're a customer with doTERRA, thank you for being here tonight. Those three products for you will be approximately $137. And if you are brand new and you want to get started with essential oils, we have a $35 membership fee, which is included in that wholesale customer of $137. So it brings your total to around $172. Now, I also right now would look at getting this immune support kit as an enrollment. This is $150 wholesale. You can add that with your wholesale account for $35. That wholesale account gives you access to everything doTERRA has to offer, 25% off. It is an amazing benefit, and that lasts for an entire year. At the end of the year, if you choose to continue with your membership, doTERRA is going to drop the price and give you a free product as a thank you for doing so. But there's no automatic anything. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do other than support your body in the best way for you and your family. This immune support system kit is powerful. You'll see in there it has 3 of the On Guard products. Sorry, it has your On Guard essential oil, it has your On Guard sanitizing mist, and your On Guard soft gels. Those 3 are boosting your immune system like nothing you've seen. It also includes the Breathe oil, the copaiba oil, which we mentioned, and Oregano Touch. Oregano is a super fighter. It's like that soldier going into battle for your immune system. And of course, probiotics. Got to keep your body strong and healthy. So this immune support system is what I would recommend for anybody looking to start with an enrollment tonight, and then add on those essential oils that we've talked about for respiratory support. Right now, because Rosie is doing Diamond Club, we have some amazing specials that she can offer you: Citrus Bliss and or the adaptive oil, depending on what type of enrollment you choose to do. And then my deepest request for all of you is to consider where you play in this world of essential oils. Use oils, share oils, teach others to use the oils. doTERRA makes it so simple. You don't have to define yourself where you want to play, but we can make sure that wherever you're at, we're going to partner with you and help you become familiar with the oils, to use the oils to radically improve your life and the life of those that you love. Once you start doing that, you're going to want to tell people about it. You're going to want to share the oils. And someday, maybe tomorrow, you're going to want to teach people about oils, because as soon as you know something, you know enough to help somebody else. So there's 3 ways that doTERRA can share the oils. We have an amazing referral partnership, and you can get free oils in that. You can enroll your friends and get a little extra income, or you could build a team to supplement or replace the income that you have. You can pay for your product in about 3 to 5 hours a week by personally enrolling a few people each month. You can supplement your income with about 10 to 15 hours a week, enrolling about 4 customers a week, and helping one other person to start sharing the oils the way that you have, and supplement your income. And you can replace your income with 15 to 30 hours a week, helping others, empowering others to learn the type of things that you're learning here tonight, enrolling 8 customers a month, and having a couple builders come along and partner with you. You're going to replace the income that you have and allow your dreams to come true. This system, sharing, teaching, it looks different for every single one of us. Don't let any preconceived idea block you into it. Trust your gut. Trust where your journey is leading you. If you feel called to talk to somebody else, to help somebody else, to share this with somebody else, we're here to help you. I would love for you to text the person who called you or invited you tonight. Text them right now. Let them know what you want to do to help make a difference, whether it's in your own life or somebody else. If you have specific oils that we've talked about that you're interested in purchasing, let them know. They're going to be able to help you either set up a wholesale account, get those oils retail, or if you already have a customer account and they weren't able to join tonight, let them know what you learned and share what you're learning with somebody else. Listen to your body, listen to what you can do, and live the life that you were created for.